So what has Obama been doing? How can we summarize his presidency? Well, if I had to summarize it, I would say that Obama has been simultaneously doing two things. One in domestic policy and one in foreign policy. On the face of it, the two things are opposites. Domestically, he is increasing the power of the state and obviously correspondingly reducing the role of the private sector. That's Obama's domestic objective. Internationally, he has been contracting the role of America on the world stage. And by that I mean he has been announcing a pullout from Iraq. He wants to get out of Afghanistan. But he also wants to reduce the American footprint in the world. He's very reluctant to get involved anywhere. He really wants to increase the role of other nations vis-a-vis America. Even when he does get involved in Libya, he says very unusual things for any army to say, which is, let the French go first. Now, why would somebody simultaneously do those two things? Increase the power of the state, contract the power of America on the world stage. Well, let me make the mystery deepen in a way, because when you look at Obama more closely, domestically and in foreign policy, all kinds of puzzles come up. I'll mention, in the interest of time, just a couple. Recently, Obama was in Brazil. He was praising oil drilling. Oil drilling in Brazil. He's for it. In fact, the U.S. Export-Import Bank has given $2 billion in loan guarantees to Brazil to drill for oil. You might say, a clever scheme for the oil to come to America? No. The oil stays in Brazil. And the Brazilians have announced that they're selling some of it to the Chinese. So here's a guy who's blocking oil drilling in America, but condoning it in Mexico and Colombia, and actually subsidizing it in Brazil. Why would you do that? That's not Al Gore environmentalism. Al Gore's idea is, as Gore puts it in his own comical way, the earth has a fever, global warming, we should all use less. So presumably Gore wants everybody to stop drilling. But here's Obama, very different agenda. We should have less so that the others can have more. That is explained by the anti-colonial hypothesis. Why? Because the anti-colonial idea is that here is America, the big rogue elephant, consuming out of proportion to what its share is. So the idea here has nothing to do with global warming. Environmentalism is totally irrelevant. The basic idea is that Americans should have less oil so that the other guys, the wretched of the earth, can have more. Remember, during the oil spill, Obama gave a speech, and he made the very telling statement. He said, we have 2% of the world's oil and use 25%. True, but if you think about it, irrelevant to an oil spill. If we have 2% of the world's oil and use 10%, would the oil spill be any better? No. Why say that? Because that is the way Obama's mind works. For him, we are consuming beyond our share. Now, on the foreign policy stage, let me mention a couple of interesting developments. Here we have the Middle East right now, and there are rebellions going on all over the place. In fact, in about 10 countries. Tunisia, Egypt, Syria, Iran, Libya, Bahrain. So, Obama has been active in getting the Mubarak regime out. The State Department was negotiating with the military to push Mubarak out of there. The U.S. has used military force in Libya. But in Syria, we're doing nothing. In fact, civilians are being shot in Syria every day. When Obama gave a speech about Libya, he's like, we've got to stop the civilian casualties. Civilian casualties are occurring right now. No action. No plans for any action. Certainly no military force. Why not? See, traditional theories about Obama, he's a socialist, don't explain anything. Because socialism, even if it could explain his domestic policy, can't explain his foreign policy. Obama's a Muslim. That explains nothing. All those people over there are Muslims. So why is Obama intervening here but not over there? So I offer you a different theory. According to my theory, Obama views America as the neo-colonial rogue elephant in the world. It is America that is invading small Muslim countries like Iraq and Afghanistan. By the way, right away this explains why Obama seems so bizarrely sympathetic to Muslim radicals arrested in foreign wars shooting against America. Obama says, well, we kind of have to give them civilian trials. We've got to get them lawyers. Now, from a constitutional point of view, this is like downright nuts. Because the American Constitution, the rights of the American Constitution only apply to American citizens. The whole point is we have a social compact and we agree that these are the rules that this club, America, will live by. Constitutional rights don't apply to aliens, and they most certainly don't apply to foreigners apprehended in wars shooting against America. So why would a sane person act as if they do? Here's my answer. If when an anti-colonial framework you see America as the rogue elephant in the world, what does that make the Muslims who are fighting against America? It makes them freedom fighters. They're like Gandhi trying to push the British out of India, or Obama's dad fighting against the British in Kenya. So from Obama's point of view, those guys are on the right side of history. We have to do what we can. Close Guantanamo, give them constitutional rights, and so on. And coming back to this issue of the Middle East, it's really simple. What is the common element in the regimes that we are actively working to subvert? The simple answer is, they're our friends. Think about this. Who is our biggest ally in the Middle East? Mubarak. Probably our most reliable ally outside of, and this is an arguable point, the Saudis. I want to leave them out of it for right now. Gaddafi is certainly not our friend. But of all the radical third world dictators out there, after 9/11, he's the one guy who's been sort of behaving himself. He sort of made a pact with America. I'm not going to build any nuclear bombs. He blew the whistle on A.Q. Khan, the Pakistani scientist who was selling nuclear secrets. He agreed to pay reparations for the Lockerbie bomber. Meanwhile, if you think from America's point of view, what's the regime that's most hostile to us in the Middle East? Iran. There was a rebellion in Iran in which almost 1 million people took to the streets. Obama said, there's an interesting debate going on in Iran. This is what he meant by debate. Iranian mullahs with sticks and tear gas and guns shooting these people who are protesting, and the whole rebellion was shut down. I guess the debate ended. You would think it would be really good for America to get rid of Assad in Syria, a major ally of Iran, funder of Hezbollah, but we're doing nothing. So the common element in the two regimes we are actively working to overthrow is that they seem to be, relatively speaking, in a hostile region, somewhat willing to either do business or sympathetic to America. Put it this way, you can be pretty sure that whatever new regime comes in Egypt, whatever it is, we don't know, will be more anti-Israel and more anti-America than the one that was there before. That's a guarantee. And you can also be guaranteed that if there were new regimes in Syria and in Iran, even though we have no idea what's going to come next, you can be pretty sure that they will be more likely to be more pro-American. And therefore, we're doing nothing. So the point I'm trying to make again is that we seem to be dealing in Obama with a different kind of a Democrat. What's the difference? Well, the difference is that previous Democrats came from a recognizable American tradition. Jimmy Carter was kind of a Southern boob. Right? He was a well-meaning buffoon. Now, we may not like him or our vote for him, but we kind of get him. We recognize the tradition. He's a proud representative of it. Even Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a very smart, kind of horny guy. Confident, but nevertheless somewhat uncontrolled individual. Again, we may not vote for him, but we kind of get him. He's in a recognizable tradition. Al Gore. I mean, you can go down the list. But here's the point I want to make. While traditional Democrats want redistribution in America, what Obama seems to want is realignment of America in the world. Totally different goal. Now, just want to make a small qualification here because I'm leaving you with an alarming thought and an agenda of action. The qualification is this. there are some people who say that Obama is straight out hates America, is anti-American in the sense that he just sort of doesn't like America, is trying to bring America down. And I would qualify that this way. I don't think Obama is anti-American in the sense that he hates America, but what I think he is captive to an ideology, his father's, by the way, and that ideology views America as the problem. So in other words, it's not that Obama hates America, he thinks it's really bad for America to be the world's bully. That's why he goes on these big apology tours to Venezuela, the UN, to Europe, and basically tells foreigners, hey guys, help me to put the leash on America. How can you explain that other than the idea that he sees America as the problem? Right. The genius of Obama, which comes out of Alinsky, but the genius of Obama is to prosecute his own new agenda by using traditional liberal language. Right. So for example, let's say Obama sees America as the problem. If America is the problem, you'd have to ask, well, what does Obama want to do about, let's say, Iran's nuclear bombs? And my answer is, nothing. He doesn't particularly care. Not that he wants Iran to have a bomb, don't get me wrong. He just looks at the Middle East and says, how many Muslim bombs are there in the Middle East? None. The Iranians are trying to get one. How many Jewish bombs are there? Some. Israel. How many Western bombs are there? A lot. Who has them? We do. America. Who's used the bomb? We have. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So from Obama's anti-colonial point of view, we're the problem. Our nuclear arsenal makes us the most dangerous power on the planet. His job is to reduce America's nuclear arsenal. And that is exactly what he has been doing. He has been slashing the American nuclear arsenal. Now, he can't go to the Democratic National Convention and say, I'm slashing the power of America. So what does he say? He says, I dream of a world free of nuclear weapons. Thunderous applause. Young people actually in raptures and so on. He says, we've got to do what we can to reduce nuclear weapons in the world. People say, go for it, go for it. Now, whose nuclear weapons can Obama reduce? The Chinese. He has no control over them. The only nuclear weapons that he can reduce are America's nuclear weapons. So Obama sets about to reduce our nuclear arsenal in the traditional liberal language of getting the world free of nuclear weapons, whereas in reality he's pursuing his own anti-colonial agenda of making us weaker in the world again, not because he hates America, he thinks it's bad for us to be in this superior position. And so we talked a little bit earlier, and Congressman spoke also about America on the precipice. And it could be that we're facing all kinds of challenges and threats in the world, but what would be really scary is that if America is at the precipice with an imperiled position in the world, and we have a president who, for whatever reason, and I told you the reason, actually thinks it would be a good idea for us not to be number one, for us to be number 8 or number 37, and would view things that moved us there as being progress. In fact, defined modern progressivism that way. That would be a very alarming situation, because we count on the president we elect him to advance American goals and interests in the world. So this, I think, is our predicament. This is, I think, what makes the next election really important. Because I think that certainly from our point of view, those of us, I'm an immigrant, who loves the idea, loves America, loves the fact that America looks at what America's done in the world, sees American influence in the world as a great force for good, shudders to think of what this kind of power how it would be used if it was enjoyed by some other country, like China or Russia. What would they do with it? And so I think we're at a very interesting moment. Now, people say, well, what about the Republicans? Who do they have? And so on. I'll leave you with this thought, and that is that ultimately I think the next election is going to be about